Just fucking do it. Subscribe now.
And when you it's like when you have a gold seal here and you represent the royals. I mean, when you represent the Pope, the White House, the Queen of England, and people like that, I mean, 50% of the work is done. People will just cave. Again, they said, Freshfields, we represent the Queen of England, the Bank of England, the Church of England, and Dan Peña. That's how, not the main reason, but one of the reasons I was able to take an option public when nobody else had ever in the history of the world. Because the lawyers that represent the Bank of England, the Church of England, and the Bank of England was one of the final governing bodies that had to adjudicate me taking an option public, the Bank of England. And my lawyers are the same lawyers as the Bank of England, so I wasn't part, and they asked me not to attend the big all-day meetings down at the Bank of England because they were concerned that I might say something that might offend somebody, which is a pretty good chance in those days. And so I didn't attend the meetings. I sat there in the offices, and then I got a phone call about 5, and they said that it was approved, and of course the rest is history. So I'm forever grateful to that representation I had. Any other questions? Sir?
When you were targeting 4 different industries, were you using the same law and accounting practices or different ones?
No. I used 2 different accounting firms, as it turned out. I used E&Y and PwC. But I used the same law firm. You're going to see, for example, in the southeastern United States, BDO, I mentioned, owns the middle market for healthcare because they decided 10, 15 years ago to put a bunch of money in buying market share. There are other parts of the world that certain law firms and certain accounting firms own it, or they control it, or they're the benchmark. In Australia, in healthcare, in Eastern Australia, KPMG is kind of the golden standard. The other big 4 accounting firms are terrific, but KPMG is kind of the golden standard. And fortunately for Jason, he has them. He has them. And once your team gets deals under their belt and fees paid, then it's a machine. It's literally a machine, as it is for Jason now. And not just Jason. They're just pumping out deals. And they like, not just because of the fees, they like it for the fees because that's how they get promoted, that's how they get bonuses, etc. But they like to be proactive. I don't know this for a fact, but I would guess that Jason Nagy is probably the most active M&A guy in Adelaide, Australia. Just to guess off the top of my head, he probably is. And, and that's great. And we have other people around the world in other areas. I'm sure that Anelli, if not is one of the leading M&A guys in Johannesburg. I've never checked, but I know roughly what the numbers are, and I know there's no competition. And I would say categorically, the QLA bots are the leading M&A guys during Corona. I'm positive of that. Which all bodes well for you. We're coming down to the year end, and the little bankers want bonuses to buy their little housefrau's shit, and their little rugrats shit, right? And remember, 75% of the commercial loans in the world happen the last 90 to 120 days of the calendar year. And we're getting right on it right now. And you will find it easy. And the 3 or 4 Hall of Famers that I've alluded to that have told me they're back in the hunt, they can't believe how easy it is. Now, they're wealthy guys, they're Hall of Famers, they know what the fuck they're doing, so. But they say, Dan, it's just that the level of interest in to generate fees through M&A is, I mean, they've all pretty much said the same thing. I haven't seen it like this since the 80s. And all of us, I've said this at least 10 times, I never thought we'd see the 80s again. For M&A work. M&A work, I mean, it was just unbelievable. And not everybody, but almost everybody made a lot of money from doing deals. And to make you feel better, we created a lot of value. We created a lot of jobs. We saved a lot of jobs. I don't know if we saved any indigenous horse shit, trees or shit, but I mean, because some of you, that's what drives you. It doesn't drive this kid. But I mean, so we created a lot of value for the world. I don't give a fuck. If the world, I hope the world ends the day after I die. Ends. Disintegrates. Poof, Big Bang, reverse. Black hole. Unless you figure it out. You know, in 7 million years approximately, billion years, the earth is going to get sucked into the sun. We all, you know, the world's going to end. Well, the day after they put dirt on me, it can end then. We don't have to wait 7 billion years. I mean, we can end right now and fuck everybody. You know, there's an old saying, I'm on board, pull up the gangplank. That means I'm on board, pull up the gangplank, and everybody else can drown. Bezos and Elon are going to Mars. Why? I know why. We're finished. We're through. Do the people in Bangalore know that the world's ending? Well. Who's my 5:30? Oh, fuck. I'll take a deep breath. That's probably why I had a glass of wine. There must have been a reason why I had a glass of wine, because I knew I was going to talk to you. Everybody got their kilt. They know how to put them on. And yes. No, for you there is. It starts at 8 o'clock right here. You may be the only one sitting here. I sleep in tomorrow. We've got 4 eyes. Fuck that bitch is leaving at 2, 3. Are you doing it because you're going to try to catch a plane to get back, or what? Is there a reason why you're leaving so early? Other than you're an idiot. We already know you're an idiot, just from listening to your talk. Yeah. From where? And then your flight after that? To what? No, what time? That's a tight squeeze. There is at least a 50% chance you won't make those flights. Now, when you book the flight, do they tell you that? No, but do they tell you there's a 50% chance you won't make those flights? London fog now, it's probably worse than 50%. Edinburgh fog, nobody's telling you this. They just let you buy the ticket. Of course, now anybody will sell you any kind of ticket now because nobody's buying tickets. There's a 50-50 chance that you won't. And then you'll be saying, fuck that bitch. And just for the YouTube morons, there was a name of a kid that came through 4 or 5 years ago, that his name. Now, how do you say it in Vietnamese right? Okay, but it's spelled fuck that bitch. And it could only happen. It could only happen in Vietnam and Morocco. What do you want?
When you're sourcing deals and you've got a list of prospects...
Is this in Morocco or in UK?
That is globally again, global. Okay. So you're calling them, and Do you check, for instance, here we can check the name on company's house to see how much they're making or whatever. Do you go in and check if it's making £30,000? Oh, you've been it, next one, or do you just call them?
Well, in the beginning, I just call because you need the practice. Okay, but Company's House is a pretty good source of information, just as I said, the Chamber of Commerce and a few other places. But I would check, and now Company's House information is free. Didn't used to be free, okay, but now it's free. It's online.
Takes 2 seconds.
Yeah,
Name, limited.
I've never done it, but I know my crack staff have done it. Yeah, I would check before. Not a final example. You want normally businesses that have at least 4 employees. This is all in the material you get, but I'm going to say it because I'm thinking about it. 4 employees, and you want a big enough universe. The universe that Peter went after in hospitals normally wouldn't be considered big enough because there's so few. But he wanted to stay in Hungary, so he did it, and he was successful. Normally, you want a universe at least 10 times greater than 40. You only got 40 or 50 hospitals. I mean, it doesn't take much fuck up before everybody knows, and you've got nobody to buy. And that's not making excuses for Peter why he wasn't more tough. But he was just tough enough to get the deals done, and in a small universe. But for example, in the Netherlands, there's 1,700 chiropractors that have 4 or more employees in the Netherlands. 1,700. That's a good enough universe. Not the chiropractors 0 to 4, but chiropractors have 4 or more employees. So normally, it's just like the bedpans. Normally, the rule of thumb, not the rule of thumb, the easiest entry is 40 beds. 40 beds, the private equity is not interested in. 40 beds, we are interested in, because we'll roll up a bunch of 40 beds. In America, the rule of thumb is bigger, 80 beds, more or less, 70, 80 beds. Private equity is not interested in, and so we can chase them. And you can tell them with your hand on your heart, well, I mean, if you don't sell to me, who's going to buy you? And you need to be honest and transparent. Your kids don't want to be in the business, right? They'll say, yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, who? If it's not me, who? Some of the people that you're going to talk to have, even though they may tell you vis-a-vis the scripts that you're going to be following, we've thought about selling, but have you ever talked to anybody about selling? And almost everybody that you're going to talk to will say no. Because they're so under the radar that nobody's come around to talk to them. And so you can say, well, okay, if not me, who? Who's going to buy this from you? Will you ever be able to exit? I used to tease people, your exit strategy is falling dead in your in basket. They don't have in baskets anymore, but falling dead over your laptop. And just like nobody's ever told you, other than on my site, why you do stupid things or why you're fucked up. Nobody's ever told them they're going to die flopping over their laptop. Nobody, I guarantee you. Nobody, ever. When their kids suggest to them to retire for whatever reason, the kids aren't saying you're going to fall dead over your laptop. And almost all people, not all, but almost all people, when they work 10, 20, 30, 40 years on a business, they don't want it just to disintegrate when they're gone. You know, they want to, I don't know if it's called adding value to the world, whatever it's called. You know, they don't want to think that they've wasted their whole life creating nothing. And we can check all those boxes, and we can fill all those slots. So you are helping the world. You are doing those things, and I know that's important to some of you. It's not important to me. I'm way past that. But you will be creating something that they would normally never get, and that's an exit. That's an exit. With some honor, some respect. Anything else? Yes, sir.
The firms that are buying 40, 80 beds, you mean collectively, right? When we
No. One home, 40 beds. One home, 80 beds. Okay? In the UK, 40 beds is kind of not the magic, but I mean 40 beds can make some money. Okay? 80 beds in America, because it's a bigger market. 80 beds. Now, can you put 40 beds together in Albuquerque, New Mexico and make it 120 beds? Yeah. But 80 beds, and most of the stuff, before Corona, the industry average, so to speak, for home health is about 85% occupancy. Remember, we're not turning these around. You're not buying 20% occupancy and then praying that you fill them up. They have to be cash flowing to cover the debt service at whatever level you're paying for it. And some of them are, but a lot of them aren't, so we just pass those by. That's not to say you can't buy a turnaround a year or two from now when you've already made 5 acquisitions. Then you can buy a turnaround. But turnaround is a different ballgame. I mean, it's different than what we do. Turnaround, you have, there's a lot more risk. And if there's a third and fourth wave and Corona lasts a long time, that's good for us because it's gonna cement into the potential seller's mind that this is a shitty market. I got to get out. Anything else from anybody about anything? Remember this. Well, it's not there now. Okay. I didn't put the slide up. Your goal is to know when to say no. And for the most part, you've got to cut the conversations short. When they're not following your lead, next. And I know that's hard when you're trying to sell something. I know, I've been there. But you just got to move on to the next one. Because it is a numbers game. It is a numbers game. And you've heard all these people up here say, except for Margot and Andres, who didn't attend the hardcore. That's a valid point, but the others had. But most of the people don't attend the hardcore. A lot of people do, and they've been successful. But that's your choice. If you have any interest like that, contact Kim. Okay, tonight I'll see you all in your kilts, which will be a thing of beauty. We're meeting, I guess, in the castle for drinks, right? Right? So you get to. We got all the silver put away and shit? Okay. We got some people from certain parts of the world that, I just soon shake you down, check your luggage. Sally says, that's not polite. Sally's a kinder gentleman. Now, we may make an exception with a couple of you. I had a guy here in the 90s, when he left, you heard shit rattling. And I'm embarrassed to say, we stopped, would you open up your bag? And he wasn't taking anything. He had bought some candlesticks for his mother. Fuck, I felt like an asshole. Yeah, but it rattled. I look around, what's missing? But he was just, he was insulted. Can you imagine that, Doc? His feelings were hurt that I wanted to look in his bags. But as soon as I saw those candlesticks, I thought, are they mine? But they weren't ours, and so he went on his merry way. His feelings were a little hurt, but yeah, fuck him. I don't care. Okay, guys, that's it. Thank you very much. Very good. Thank you. Drink to excess tonight, but don't get in fights. Drink to excess, but don't get in fights.